It's a pleasure to have you join me on this virtual journey. Welcome, curious minds, to our video that explores the ins and outs of Briarcliffe Acres, South Carolina. Briarcliffe Acres is a town in Horry County, South Carolina, United States, located between Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. The population was 457 at the 2010 census. Without wasting any more time, let's jump into the fascinating world of geography. Briarcliffe Acres is located in southeastern Horry County at 33.789 to 78.7473. It is bordered to the north and east by the city of North Myrtle Beach. US Route 17 forms the northern border of the town, leading northeast 4 miles to the center of North Myrtle Beach and southwest 11 mi to the center of Myrtle Beach. According to the United States Census Bureau, the town has a total area of convert, all land. With the foundation laid, let's embark on a journey into history. Briarcliffe Acres was developed as a retirement community by Kenneth Ellsworth, a native of Briarcliffe Manor, New York, from which he took the name of his project, who married Virginia Ginny Gask, pronounced Gasky or, by some, Gasky. Her family came from the nearby town of Conway, South Carolina. Briarcliffe was one of the first planned communities in the Southeast. In the early pre-1930 parts of the 20th century, the coastal areas of northernmost South Carolina were used mostly as farming sites. The real estate monolith now known as Burroughs and Chapin for decades was named Myrtle Beach Farms. Sea breezes washed nutrients on crops planted on sand dunes, much as now is done through roots in hydroponic gardens, and cotton and tobacco thrived. Farmers from Lawrence, Gallivan's Ferry, Florence, and other low-country towns bought land on the coast for practical reasons and then spent summers with their families there, rather than stay in the hellish heat and sand fleas of their main farms. As a result, a few people subsequently built vacation homes in the first resort area, Murrell's Inlet, and, later, erected rooming houses north in what would become Myrtle Beach. One influential example was the Patricia Court, later Patricia Inn, and now Patricia Grand Resort, started in the Ers but reaching importance in the late Ers, built by Patricia Rousseau of North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Further north still, Ken and Ginny Ellsworth recognized that the idea of living at the beach for its own sake could be expanded into a community. They found a large tract of land owned by Elizabeth Patterson, a daughter of Simeon B. Chapin. As soon as it was possible after acquiring the property, the Ellsworths dug a yacht basin on the adjacent intracoastal waterway, on the land side of US Highway 17. They built a small cottage between the highway and yacht basin so they could be close both to the wealthy people on the waterway and the potentially larger numbers of people driving down the main road from New York to Miami. The idea of capitalizing on the highway also motivated Jack Nelson, who built the El Rancho Motel, once featured in Life magazine, about 10 miles south. Ken and Ginny cut roads, layered them with coquina, a local mix of sand and fossilized shells, and looked for residents. Among the first people to move in were Ginny's parents, who built a home on what is now Northgate Road, just on the edge of the brow above the drop down to the beach, backing up to the huge lot owned by the Lewis family, who owned the northernmost fishing pier in the area. The location on the brow, like that of Patterson's home, on the opposite end of the property, was intended to provide both easy access to the shore and protection from storms, a plan that has worked until the present day. Next came the Sorry, pronounced Sorry, rhymes with Horry, as in the county family, who built next to the Gasquas. They were followed by the Dutch Van Buren family, descendants of the American president, who discovered the place by anchoring one night in the yacht basin on a trip south and then visiting the land, deciding to build a home and retire, which proved the wisdom of Ken Ellsworth's original scheme. The Van Burens told another Dutch family, Anton Frederick and Kasperina Hermann Groneveld Borslig, friends of theirs from New York and Vermont, about the place, who visited and then moved down in 1950. In 1951, Alfred Colby Hawkins and his wife. He was a well-known illustrator for Field and Stream magazine, originally from Wisconsin but most recently living in the artists' community of Tryon, North Carolina, built a home up the street from the Gasquas and Sories and across from the Borslads. At almost the same time, another Dutch family, Gebrand and Nellie Poster, the son-in-law and daughter of the Borslads, came down from New York City to visit her parents for Christmas, decided to stay, and built a home next door to her parents. Poster was later to found Coastal Federal Savings and Loan Association and use connections developed during his military service as a Dutch national in the U.S. Army during World War I to help convince the U.S. government to declare that the damage done by Hurricane Hazel in 1954 should be covered by insurance. This made possible the second renaissance of the community, the first having been its emergence from the Great Depression. At this time, all the homes in Briarcliffe except for the Van Burens, who lived across the road from the Central Lake, and Elizabeth Patterson, whose home was on what is now Middlegate Road, are clustered along what is now Northgate Road. Two developments, one small and one huge, changed Briarcliffe in ways that remain to this day. The first was the Poster family itself, which when moving in included a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and who were soon joined by a newborn. This changed the tenor of Briarcliffe by moving it from a retirement community to a third, less expensive alternative to the Pine, Lakes and Dunes sections, all of which offered a place to rear a family close to, but not in, the increasing towdrites of Myrtle Beach itself. The second was the financial impact of the government's intervention with the insurance companies after Hurricane Hazel. The companies had wanted to declare the damage high water, which was not covered. Poster convinced the authorities that the damage had been caused by wind-driven water, which was covered. This changed the whole of Myrtle Beach, as payment of claims allowed small rooming houses to be replaced by motels. This impacted the whole of coastal South Carolina, including Briarcliffe. At the same time, the United States Air Force had decided to deal with the Myrtle Beach Air Force Base by treating it as a sort of reward to which people could be assigned if they deserved a vacation, or a punishment for those whose careers were at an end. Many people in both groups chose Briarcliffe as a place in which to build or buy, ranging from Air Force heroes such as the first pilot to be an ace in two wars to investors, artists and simple families. The boom in Myrtle Beach led to a boom in Briarcliffe, and soon a community once associated with raccoons and deer became a residential destination. Among the significant people in this new wave must be remembered Rolf Behrens, another Dutchman, where having retired from General Motors thanks to his involvement in the design of their automatic transmission, first built his home with his own hands and then the first cabana. Increasingly, other residents brought histories, such as the then industrialist Krampf, button manufacturer Schwander and developer Paso. Briarcliffe Acres is still a place of lakes, pine and scrub oak forests and wild animals. Although the surrounding Grand Strand area has changed and been developed, Briarcliffe Acres remains much like it was in the ERS. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore 2020 census through a fresh lens, unlocking new perspectives. Race num. Perk. White non-Hispanic 461 96.24%, Black or African American non-Hispanic 71.46%, Asian 0.42%, Other mixed 1.04%, Hispanic or Latino 0.84%. Briarcliffe Acres racial composition. As of the 2020 United States Census, there were 479 people, 201 households, and 136 families residing in the town. A 2022 U.S. Census American Community Survey showed that Briarcliffe Acres has a mean household income of $134,375. Nscombe named the city fourth richest in South Carolina in 2024, and Forbes said it was sixth richest in 2023. As we embark on the next leg of our journey, let's unpack the layers of 2000 census and examine its core elements. As of the census of 2000, there were 470 people, 200 households and 145 families residing in the town. The population density was 719.7 PSCMI. There were 221 housing units at an average density of 338.4 PSCMI. The racial makeup of the town was 98.72% white, 0.85% African American, 0.21% Asian, and 0.21% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 0.43% of the population. There were 200 households, out of which 24% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 67% were married couples living together, 4% had a female householder with no husband present, and 27.5% were non-families. 21.5% of all households were made up of individuals, and 13.5% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.35 and the average family size was 2.74. In the town, the population was spread out, with 19.8% under the age of 18, 3.2% from 18 to 24, 17.2% from 25 to 44, 35.5% from 45 to 64, and 24.3% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 51 years. For every 100 females, there were 89.5 males. For every 100 females aged 18 and over, there were 89.4 males. The median income for household in the town was $82,437, and the median income for a family was $100,000. Males had a median income of $100,000 versus $29,688 for females. The per capita income for the town was $52,871. None of the families and 1.9% of the population were living below the poverty line, including no under-18s and 1.5% of those over 64. As we transition to the next segment, let's unravel the mysteries surrounding the system of government and gain a fresh perspective. Briarcliffe Acres has a mayor and 4-member town council. The mayor and town council members serve 4-year terms. I love hearing from you, so leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments.